Welcome back, everybody. Did you come up with an exciting hypothesis? Great. Okay, so let's start thinking about how we can investigate this, because that's, of course, as we said, how research happens. So take your hypothesis now, and we're going to the first thing that you should always do in research, not only computer science, but in general, which is to find out if somebody else has already done this. Unfortunately, that happens more often than not. You come up with a great idea on how to write a fantastic program or do some exciting research in this area or another, come up with a new approach that is so much better than everything else, and then you discover that, oh yeah, okay, somebody else has done this already, maybe I should revisit this, try to do something else there. And you ideally want to find that out at the beginning of your project and not after you spent like half a year trying to get it to work, because chances are that, well, if other people have done this before, they maybe had even better ideas, or maybe they invested more resources in it. And then you might find that, well, okay, I have just spent half a year of my life doing this and realize that somebody else has already done it and they've actually done it better. So we ideally want to avoid this. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to do the literature research for your hypothesis. What exactly that looks like depends on the hypothesis that you've come up with. Think broadly here. It doesn't need to be something that is directly related to your hypothesis. So for example, I mentioned in the previous video that your hypothesis could be, well, if it's warmer, then my battery in my phone will die sooner because it drains faster, or something along those lines. Now, maybe nobody has investigated this exact thing, but you can take this more broadly, right? So what is the general impact of temperature on batteries? That's a very general thing, and almost certainly somebody will have thought about this because it's really relevant in practice, right? So try to phrase your hypothesis maybe in a more general way in order to find out whether people have done something that's related to it, maybe not the exact same thing, maybe something that is similar enough to give you maybe an idea for your hypothesis, but not exactly the same, which is the ideal case, because then you still come up with something new. But now you have some help because you can fall back on other people's work. In other words, you can stand on the shoulders of giants to do your own investigation and to have a look at your own hypothesis, but you don't have to start from scratch. So that's the other main thing about having a look at related work and doing literature surveys, because in almost all cases you don't want to start from scratch, but rather you want to see what people have done so that then you can build on this. Now, how do you do this? Well, one great way to do this is to simply use Google or the search engine of your choice to search for some relevant terms. And for that, it's important, as I mentioned before, to phrase it in appropriate ways, because nobody might have had a look at the exact problem and the exact hypothesis that you formulated, but something related to it. So again, my hypothesis that your phone battery will die faster if it's warmer is related to batteries in general, and also to weather, that also kind of related to computers in general, because as I'm sure you have noticed, when computers do a lot of stuff, they get warm, and that might then affect battery life, and that is something that people might have investigated. So be creative when you try to come up with terms to put into a search engine of your choice. The other thing that you can do is go to the library and see if there's anything there that goes in the direction of what you want to investigate. You can talk to your favorite librarian and ask them whether something comes to mind. Of course, in that case, it tends to be more general things, where somebody might have written a paper about this, or even a book that your librarian might be aware of and that they can point you to. So have a go at that. Try to find some resources that are related to the hypothesis that you have come up with and that you want to investigate, and that in particular might help you then go about investigating that hypothesis.